So you're live and we have attendees starting to pop in. So feel free to start whenever you're ready, Dominic.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Township Council meeting for June 1st, 2021. If we could all please recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Okay. First item on the agenda is the approval of the public meeting minutes for the May 4th, 2021 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Next are the total expenditures for the month, totaling $1,803,114.02, which is a March payroll of $149,387.12. Current bills totaling $397,111.13. And also the sewer bills totaling $1,256,615.77. Do we have a motion to approve those expenditures?
So moved.
Do we have a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Next is the monthly activity reports. I see Trooper Tobin was a panelist, so I assume she's joining us this
Yep.
evening.
Let me just.
Okay, I'll hand it off to her then if she's
Yep,
ready.
Just give me 1 second. I'm going to promote her. The panelist. See if she comes in here. I think she's there, Trooper Tobin.
Hey everyone, let me just see if I can start my video here.
Okay.
Okay, you guys can see me. Hi,
Hi.
nice to see everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having me. So I'm going to start off with giving the township's traffic and criminal report for May. So for crashes, we did see a slight increase of crashes by 6%. We had 33 total in 2020, 35 total for this year. DUI arrests were standard across the board. We had 3 last year, 3 this year. Traffic stops, 197 last year for May of 2020, 136 in May of this year, giving a 31% decrease. For criminal related incidents in the township, we had 1 burglary last year. Happy to report that there were no burglaries that occurred in May last month. Criminal mischiefs, we had 3 last year, 2 this year, so that was a decrease of 33%. Thefts did increase across the board. We had 10 last year, 14 this year. Retail thefts also went up, 4 last year, 7 this year. And we did see a slight decrease in theft regarding fraud and forgery cases, which 5 last year, 4 this year. As far as our incidents that we would like to be able to share with council and the community, for last month on the 1st at approximately 1:30 p.m. we had Trooper Becker respond to Concord Park for a report of a theft from motor vehicle. Upon arrival, he had made contact with the victim, who related that her vehicle was unattended, her rear window was smashed, her purse and contents were stolen, and that is still being investigated at this time. On the 13th of May at 2:33 p.m., we had Trooper Freeman respond to Baltimore Pike in the intersection of Wilmington Pike for a 2-vehicle crash. Upon arrival, it was determined that Unit 1, which is considered the at-fault vehicle, failed to stop, striking the rear of Unit 2, so it was a rear-end collision. Operator 1 showed signs of drug impairment and was actually taken into custody for driving under the influence. The operator was found to have Suboxone and Xanax on his person. A DRE evaluation was completed. DRE stands for Drug Recognition Expert. It's a specialty test that's done with our members who are properly trained in those techniques to further be able to confirm that person's level of impairment, in which that person did come up a positive evaluation for those tests. So that person was processed and released. On the 16th at 12:37 p.m., we had 2 troopers that conducted a traffic stop on Smith Bridge Road at Concord Road. Upon contact with the operator, he too was found under the influence of alcohol. The operator was taken into custody without incident and transported to station and was later processed and released. And then lastly, on the 25th at 2:48 a.m., we had 2 troopers respond to Wilmington Pike and Baltimore Pike for an unconscious female inside of a sedan blocking the left lane. Further investigation determined that that unconscious female was found to be under the influence of alcohol in an extreme amount. A custodial inventory search was conducted, yielded a plastic bag containing suspected marijuana in the front seat, and she was actually taken to Riddle Hospital for care, in which a blood draw was taken as well. We conducted a total of 116 domestic security checks at all different sites throughout the township. And then as far as the communicator information that I would like to share with everyone, on May 2nd, happy to report that we as a department celebrated 116th anniversary. PSP was established by Governor Samuel Pennypacker on May 2nd, 1905. We were the first uniform police agency in the United States. And in 2021, unfortunately, we had Trooper Donald Brackett. He was added to our memorial wall at our State Police Academy in Hershey. He died after suffering a medical emergency on duty back in May of 2019. But it is pretty amazing that when our department was created, we started off with just 228 men. And now we have 4,719 members and 1,700 civilians. And we are the 10th largest police agency in the United States. So we are, I always like to throw that in there because it is something that we hold near and dear to our heart. And also, lastly but not least, we do have a car seat event taking place on Saturday. This upcoming Saturday, June 5th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's going to be held at the Rocky Run YMCA. So anybody who's interested in getting their car seats either checked and or installed will be there during those times, and you're free to come in whenever. You don't need an appointment. You don't need to call in. You can just show up at that. Address is 1299 West Baltimore Pike in Media. And we will have our child passenger safety technicians there to do proper installations and give the education bits as far as child passenger safety. And then with that, if anybody has any questions.
Well, I just want to point out that I signed the card and gave it to Amanda, but she probably didn't give it to you, the anniversary card.
Well, you know what? I didn't get it yet, but I am excited. So I'll be looking for that.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, yeah. Well, I don't want to say who dropped the ball here, but Amanda did. But anyway. No, it was a good report. Anyone have any comments? One thing you mentioned about, I think you called it domestic burglar. Was there 185 of those or?
So domestic security checks, those are checks that we do, whether it's somebody who calls in and requests it.
Okay.
Or somebody or some troopers that are just covering that area in Concord Township and just randomly do checks. And those checks consist of schools, places of worship, big retailers and businesses, and also people on request.
No, I was confused. I thought maybe perhaps they were the false alarms, because I know years ago there was an epidemic of them with the false burglar alarms, and it was taking a lot of time and energy from the staff of the barracks to go there and find out it was a false alarm. So that's a completely different item then. Okay, thank you.
And then also just really quickly, not just Concord Township as far as the break-in with motor vehicles, but this is also a big dilemma happening in Middletown Township as well as Chad's Ford. So if people can just please be diligent in making sure that you're doing your part in locking your car and not leaving any valuables in there, because there has been a significant increase across the board, and we are actively investigating it and using all the resources possible to ensure that we can, catch the villains in this case. So just please do your part in electronics, valuables, purses, anything that, would prohibit, have that person, break into your car. Just please do your part. It'll help. way.
Is there a flyer or something that we might, Amanda, be able to put on our website just as a FYI type thing?
I mean, sure,
You know,
we could,
telling people, you know, to make sure they lock their valuables. I know years ago, there was a Christmas time, this was always an issue. And we just try to get the word out as much as we can. For instance, if you got your laptop on your front seat, maybe put it in your trunk, something like that.
we've done it in the past. I know that we definitely have something. We've definitely put it on social
Okay.
media. All of our parks have a sign up, you know, make sure you put your
Okay.
valuables, you know, somewhere
All
else.
right. Well, if the other colleagues don't object, maybe we ought to reinforce that and put that back out on social media again.
Sure.
Okay.
And
Well, thank you for your report. I'm
One
sorry.
other note for Trooper Tobin
Yeah.
is that I don't know if you saw that the 250 acres in along Beaver Valley Road down by Penswood's Winery just went into the First State National Historical Park. So that land is now federal land and is overseen by the First State National Park Chief Ranger Martina Myers. And so just in terms of while we don't have a local law enforcement system here in Concord, just so that the state police are aware of the expansion of the federal oversight over that land in Concord.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Trooper, thank you so much for attending.
Thank you all.
Next,
Good evening.
thank you. Good night. Yeah. Next on the agenda is the sewer department report. I think, Dana, you're going to pitch it for Mr. Gillespie this evening.
Yes, thanks, Mr. President. Our report for the month of May that was prepared by Terry Grant, our assistant manager, is both the main plant and Riviera plant continue to meet discharge requirements within the parameters of the NPDES permits. The operations staff performed 11 lateral inspections for resale certification during the month of May. Work has started on the Matson Road sewer main extension with completion planned for the first week of June. The Smithbridge Estates sewer project is underway with completion estimated by mid-June, and the Penns Grant 1 and 2 sewer project is now complete, and notices will be sent out this week with connection information. Thank you.
Okay, I think that last comment, we have some agenda items further along in the agenda regarding the special purpose district and the fees associated with that. Thank you, Dana. Next is the code enforcement officer, zoning officer, which is Manos's report. For the month of May, we had 17 building permits, 8 plumbing permits, 16 mechanical permits, 18 electrical permits, 3 fire code permits, and 2 standalone zoning permits for a total of 64. There were 25 residential resale certifications and 17 certificates of occupancy. As far as development status, Maris Grove Rose Court expansion addition is complete, and the Cherry Inn building on Baltimore Pike across from Joseph Anthony is ongoing. And for those traveling on 202, the Astoria facility, the healthcare facility there, had their groundbreaking and is under construction. Next on the agenda would be the Planning Commission report from Sean Lawler. Planning Commission recommended approval of the Monty Miller final subdivision at 164 Governor Markham Drive at its May 17th, 2021 meeting. The applicant Muchler at 75 Beaver Valley Road has granted a 90-day extension till September 22nd, 2021. There are no new plans to assign in May. And the agenda hearing will be on June 14th and the public meeting of the Planning Commission on June 21st, 2021. Next will be the solicitor. Mr. Dunning, before you start, I think I sent to you back prior to actually the morning of the May council meeting an email regarding a public comment which was made at the April meeting regarding the real estate tax assessment for a property I own on Patricia Lane. And as part of that, I think I sent to you, or I know I sent you, I have a copy here of the notice I got from Tyler Technologies back in February 28th of 2020, stating that the new assessed value for said property would be $157,870. When I got my tax bill, my assessment was now at $32,030. I did not appeal the assessment when it was originally stated by Tyler. In fact, I did absolutely nothing except get a wrong tax bill. In talking to other leaders in other towns, I'm getting the impression that this is a county-wide problem, that there's some sort of disconnect between Tyler's numbers and the numbers that went out on the tax bills. I also own a property in another municipality where it's the exact opposite. It was supposed to be assessed at $12,000 and it came in at 131. So I just wanted to bring that to council and the public's attention. I did blindside you with that on the day of the last public meeting, but I think since that time, you've had some time to do a little investigating of your own. And have you found anything out? You're muted, yo. Can't hear you. You have to shut the mute off, yo.
Yeah, I got it. We have it. Can you hear me now?
Now we got you.
Okay. Great. Based upon my research and discussion with the school district solicitor and some other solicitors in the county, it has become apparent that there is a systemic problem, that there are discrepancies county-wide in the following, at least with respect to the following: that the initial assessments do not match the actual tax bills that were received by many individuals. In some cases, they're receiving tax bills that are in excess of the original assessment. In other cases, they're receiving tax bills that are less than the original assessment. Many school districts, including and specifically our school district, have filed more appeals with respect to this tax issue this go round than ever because of these discrepancies. Also keep in mind that the new tax ratio for the next year, 2022, will be established allegedly on July the 1st. After my discussions with the school district solicitors, and I believe they agree, I'm recommending the council direct the Concord Township manager to contact the Garnet Valley School District Superintendent to coordinate a equitable strategy which serves the best interest of the taxpayers and to determine the true and correct amount for all tax bills, whether they be residential or commercial.
What's everybody think?
Sounds good. Hugh, is there any indication from the county that they, now that these discrepancies are coming to light, is the county cross-checking all of their files and to identify where there were discrepancies and correct them, or are they not making that effort?
My understanding is that although they may be considering the same, there's been no official plan that's been launched as of this point in time that I am aware of. Now, maybe they've done something that the school district solicitors are not aware of, and I'm certainly not aware of. But apparently, Tyler was the company that set these new assessments, and there's discrepancies between the Tyler figures, the 2020 figures, the 2021 figures, the interim figures. And to put it bluntly, it's quite a conundrum. And I think that this does not serve the best interest of the township, but it also doesn't serve certainly the best interest of the school district and the other taxing authorities and or taxpayers. So I think it's got to get straightened out, and maybe it can get straightened out short of litigation, but somebody's got to take some action in this regard.
I mean, I would like to reinforce that in addition to working Amanda to work with the school district, I would like Amanda to reach out to the county on behalf of Concord Township, requesting that the county, review all of their records for all of the assessments in the township to cross-check any discrepancies between what was communicated from Tyler Technologies and what went out on the tax bill, and to send out correction notifications.
Couldn't agree with you more.
I agree. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. Oddly enough, you mentioned that not only is the township not getting their fair share of tax and the school district, but ironically, the people that are printing the bill aren't paying enough attention to put the right number on there so the county gets enough money. I
Correct.
think for the last 2 years, this has been a whole different system over there. And I personally, as a property owner, find it appalling that they can't get these numbers from one piece of paper to another correct. So if all council concurs, I guess we should have a motion to direct Amanda to issue the communications to the school district to come up with a plan and report back to us. Do we have a
I'll
motion to do so?
that, But we also want to add in the county to that per John's recommendations.
I agree. Okay. Any other discussion on that? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add in your report?
I do not at this time.
Okay. Township Engineer Nate Klein.
Evening, everybody. Been a busy month, so I've got a few updates here, so bear with me as I go through these. Amanda, I might ask you that I share my screen because I can share some photos real quick at some point. First, tomorrow we'll be advertising our updated MS4 PRP. Every time I say that, everybody says, what does that stand for? And it is the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System and our pollution reduction plan. We've been working with DEP to edit this plan to meet their requirements. We have a final version ready, so we'll be advertising tomorrow, and the document will be updated to the township website as early as tomorrow, and then it'll be a 30-day public comment period, at which point we'll then collect those comments and transmit them to the DEP. In short, what this plan represents is a 10% reduction of sediment in streams, generally due via stream restoration and similar events. So it kind of dovetails nicely with our ongoing discussions with the New England Grist Mill and the task force, which I'm sure Amanda will update everybody on at some point as well. Second, we are moving pretty good right now with the Octorara Trail project. I've asked Amanda, I think in the month of July, I'll probably provide a little bit more of a detailed update on the project. We have a preliminary layout and we are currently working through all the utility conflicts. We had conversations, hour-long conversations with Chester Water and SEPTA this month, just trying to address their concerns and their needs. Next up will be PICO. And once we get through with PICO, hopefully next month, we'll be able to hopefully finalize this kind of layout, make sure we get all the sign-offs from the utility companies, and then continue to move this ball forward. So a lot's been going on in the background. I haven't been providing monthly updates because sometimes it takes a little while, but I'm hoping maybe in July I can bring some mapping up and explain to you guys and the public a little bit more clarification on the location of the trail now that we've gotten this design a little further along. Next is in the month of May, we did complete our punch list inspections of all the landscaping that was installed. As people have probably seen, it looks great at the township building, for example, the township park, but we did lose some species and some plants on the 202 corridor. So we have created that punch list earlier this month, and we were in conversation with the contractor. As I mentioned on previous calls, we do have a guarantee on those plantings. So we are working with the contractor on the best time and method for getting those plants reinstalled. I'll keep everybody posted on that. Last month, you guys approved 2 resolutions for DCED grants for open space acquisition and Octorara Trail construction funding. Both of those were submitted by the deadline, which was this previous Friday, and Megan has the grant applications. No, sorry, Amanda has the grant applications at the office. Baltimore Pike, hopefully people have seen the notices coming out from PennDOT that the township has been sharing and posting. There's various improvements going along the Baltimore Pike corridor in advance of the ultimate repaving of that entire corridor later this summer. So keep a lookout for those detours, closures. I have not run into specific issues as of yet with that work, but if anybody sees anything or has concerns, please let me know. There are some minor improvements, but the bulk of the project is repaving all of Baltimore Pike within Concord Township, I believe, to the limits. Concord Township.
Nate, a few months ago, you showed a plan at the intersection of 202 and 1 with some adjustments to medians, curb cuts, things like that. Is that work part of this work being done?
No, that's a good clarification, John. That's an entirely separate project that PennDOT has money for on their 12-year transportation improvement plan, and that is to improve the 202 and 1 intersection. So that'll be a completely separate project. So this paving project will not include, let's call it the concrete areas of that intersection. It'll stop short of that. And then that'll be a project in the next couple of years that comes through where PennDOT does that separately. At the end of the day, it's how it's funded, John. Some are funded as capital improvements or some are funded as maintenance. And that's why they end up being separate projects. And then I think last is, if I could share my screen real quick, Amanda, I don't know if that's possible. There we go. We are moving along nicely on the storm sewer projects. So the township approved this a couple months back. Gessler was the low bidder. These pictures here are of the work going on Peters Lane in, I believe that's Greenbrook neighborhood. We replaced the storm sewer pipe heading down to the stream. And you can see it's already being restored here and add an additional inlet. This was a project that was following those August storms that was determined to be a need. So we've completed that project, as well as, this is the end product right here. This is the Nicklin Concord Meeting Road Storm Sewer Project. Again, this has been going on for probably about, 18 months, 2 years. I know this is one Amanda's been trying to cross off and been very patient. In regard, we had to get easements from multiple property owners, resolve some old storm sewer infrastructure from the 60s. But again, we've replaced this pipe and infrastructure in its entirety. And we'll be continuing to work with the Concord Woods neighborhood in the future on some other projects that are upcoming. So both of those projects, so far so good. The two last projects will be Locust Farm Lane, where we're repairing a collapsed storm sewer, as well as Weeks Lane, where we are installing some new storm sewer as well. So that project is moving along, and I'll have some more updates at the July meeting. Hopefully all that work will be done at that point. I think that is everything I have that's not on the agenda. Any questions?
Nate,
Yeah,
do you have any
Nate, I
update?
have a question on the landscaping on Route 202. I know that there was some conversation about why the intersection at 202 and Namans Creek Road had not been done. But I think when you go by and you see how nice the landscaping looks further south and just north of that towards the car wash, it seems like it was missed. It appeared, and I know that it wasn't missed because there's some plans for PennDOT to expand, but in lieu of waiting for that expansion of an additional lane to come in that may or may not, we don't have a timeline on, can we look at maybe some plantings or something that we can do in that area so that it kind of ties in with the work that we've already done above and below it?
Sure, yeah, and you have that right, Colleen. The reason we didn't was because of that future project. But that future project realistically is, a couple years down the road at some, in theory, we still have to get that finalized. So, I think that's something we can do as part of this maintenance if council wants us to. Maybe as part of this maintenance, we can see if we could squeeze some additional plantings in that area and use the existing contract, facilitate that. Unless anybody has an objection, I can certainly take a look at that.
I'd say even if it's soil, sod or mulch, something that's maybe less costly, and ultimately when we remove it, we're not removing really plantings.
I wouldn't go in and plant $750 trees there.
Sure.
Right. I would something somewhat low scale, small.
I think something needs to be done to improve the streetscape other than what's there, but being sensitive and aware of the fact that it might be ripped out in a few years, but there has to be something. I agree with Colleen and John. The rest of the road is really looking sharp, and then you got this one eyesore. And unfortunately, it's at an intersection. You probably spend more time there looking at it.
Right.
So we should take care of it. I don't know if we're going to need any help from PennDOT, but once you're done, Amanda's done her report, we might have somebody we're going to put on the agenda that could help us with PennDOT, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. John, did you have anything else you wanted to add? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Nate, could you give an update on the trails at Bush Hill Farm and at the at Hillsborough at the Hall property? You or Amanda? Doesn't.
Yeah, sure. So I think we are extremely close. Bush Hill Farm is more or less open. We've got those trails cut in. Amanda ordered some new signage. So we'll have some trail map and some identification signage. So I think we're just waiting for that to arrive, and then we'll kind of maybe more officially open that. But if anybody's been over at Bush Hill Farm, we have let those meadows grow up, and the trails are essentially in place, and you can meander around that entire site over there. Get a nice kind of almost mile-ish meadow walk-in at Bush Hill Farm over at 30 Bethel Road, for those that don't know the address over there. Second, Public Works. We are probably due to go back out literally any day now. They did, I think, 2 cuts now of the new trails at the Hillsborough track, which is also the Hall property the township acquired. So same thing. I think those trails will be pretty easy to implement. Once we kind of confirm the layout and we confirm the first round of signage for the Bush Hill Farm site, we will then probably order a second round of signs for the Hall site, Hillsborough site, and then open that up again more formally. Right now, Hall Hillsborough is not open until we get everything kind of up and ready to go. So it'll probably be kind of a 2-step process. Amanda, did I kind of summarize everything accurately there?
No, that's accurate. I think we're just, we're close to everything. It was the final touches and getting the mapping right and everything and making sure it's done so that the official sort of opening can take place with council present in a more ceremonial type manner.
Great. No,
Nate,
I
I
appreciate
have
the work.
Nate, I have a quick question regarding the detours and the PennDOT closures that we are going to have in town. Would we be notified so that we can let our residents know to make their lives easier?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, Vanita, PennDOT has been notifying us, and Amanda and Lisa are pushing those right out in social media as soon as we get those. I think the biggest impact is most likely lane closures. There's a possible detour. Essentially, what they're going to do is at the intersection of Baltimore Pike and Thornton Road, they are going to make permanent those temporary improvements the township and everybody pushed for years to happen there. So those are going to become permanent. There could be a detour in place as they make those permanent. So they'll go from the flexible delineators to more of a concrete median there. Otherwise, I think it's going to be mostly lane closures and things like that, Vanita, just like when you see them out there doing the paving projects, last summer, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Okay, thank you, Nate. Amanda, Township Manager's report?
Yeah, I will, I'll keep it short. We just have some personnel things going on where we have some hirings coming up. Finance director, we're also going to be hiring 2 laborer 1 positions. So I just encourage anyone who's interested to please check out our website. We have job descriptions and information there. And resumes will be due to the office@concordtownship.org email address. So I just encourage anyone to apply. We're a great team to work with. So hopefully we get some great resumes in the door. We just had confirmation today, details to follow. We'll post everything as we have it. But it's looking like we will have one of the county's pop-up vaccine clinics here at the township campus on Monday, June 7th. I believe the timing will be between 1:30 and 4 p.m. So for those folks who aren't vaccinated that live in the nearby area, that'll be available to you. We will post all information on how to join in by the end of the week once we have it, all the details from the county moving forward. But we do have it confirmed that they will be here on Monday with a mobile vaccination clinic at the township site. So more to come, and we'll post it as soon as we have all the correct details. So I just want to make sure I get that out there. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Amanda.
And on that vaccine clinic, so do we know, is that one you need 2 shots for, or the 1 shot? I'm just thinking
I
if
believe I don't want to commit. I don't have full details. From what we understand, there are 2 offerings. One for the 1 shot, and you can also have the availability of another. That's a 2-step process. So they won't, it's my understanding, they won't just have one brand of the vaccine. There will be offerings of both from what we understand.
So would there be a follow-up pop-up clinic 2-3 weeks later if you need that 2nd shot?
We assume, but again, they're still working out the details. I don't have everything fully given to me. It was just a, hey, do you want to host it? We said yes. That's where we're at. And we're trying to get that.
Okay. So more information to follow as the plans get firmed up. Okay.
Thanks.
All good questions. If
Amanda,
my colleagues
one more
don't.
question for Amanda. Did we receive the settlement information, and this is Hugh as well, the settlement information from settlement payment from Sky Zone for the delinquent taxes? That was brought up a few months ago. I just wanted to verify. Yes,
we have received that payment.
Okay, thank you. And as a matter of general interest, the township closed on the open space at Concord Road, just next to St. John's on Friday. So
And it was a very,
Township.
that's a good acquisition for us.
Congratulations, John.
Yes, I'd like to make a little change to the agenda. I'd like to ask State Representative Craig Williams if he'd like to maybe chime in and report in, and rather than put him under other council matters, maybe we can hear from him now. And Craig, if you're out there.
I just promoted him. There he is.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Hey, team, it's been great to follow your meeting this evening. And I do follow a lot of them online. I just wanted to take one brief opportunity to check in with you and with our community. I did go on a drive around with PennDOT late last week to address some of the things that you've been raising and that our constituents have been raising. I took them on a 2-hour tour in my truck with me driving. So I was at the wheel, taking him over every bump that you and I experience every day on the state roads, which includes not only the length of Baltimore Pike, but I drove him on Baltimore Pike all the way out to Kennett Square Borough, and then to the end of Concord as well, so that he got to experience what we experienced. Went the length of 322 through Bethel, so that he got to sit in daytime flagged single lane traffic the way that we do. Came up Naaman's Creek, and then went on a bunch of the surface roads that belong to the state. With regard to the Naaman's Creek intersection with 202, as you all know, that's also where my office is sited. So I'm dealing with that left-hand turn going from, I guess it's actually Beaver Valley on the other side of the intersection onto 202 going north, which is actually quite dangerous because I, again, wanted him to experience what it's like to try to make that left turn with traffic that's coming straight through the intersection that you can't see amongst those who are making the left-hand turn to go south on 202. And fortunately, it was just as dangerous as it is for me every day. So he got to see that in real time. And you know, I got, of course, a litany of how budgeting process is slow and difficult for them right now. And as somebody on the call already indicated that there's, and I think it was Nate, there's a great difference between a capital improvement project, which is that intersection at Naaman's Creek and 202, in maintenance work, which is the person I had in the truck with me. I think the upside to having the maintenance person with me is that's somebody who can be working on poor road conditions immediately, and now has firsthand information and observation of those poor road conditions. So that I'm hopeful about that. And he had to acknowledge that there were some bad spots out there. And then the other commitment that I got from PennDOT is that we would set up a quarterly meeting virtually to review not only all the maintenance work that we've just gone over, but the updated status of 322. I do get periodic independent reports on 322 to make sure that road is, or that project is progressing. But I think we're going to fold that into a larger conversation with Chester County and Delaware County PennDOT and maintenance, so that they can all see the work that's being done by each of their respective hands, because right now they're not talking to one another. So I can force them to have a conversation by way of talking to me. And then finally, also to have them address some of these other concerns that you guys are also working on by way of your task force with, water and wetland mitigation down by the grist mill that I believe involves PennDOT, in addition to making sure that our storm drainages are adequately cleared, so that we're not seeing a repeat of some of the things we've dealt with in years past, where people have, namely a landscaper, has clogged a drainage ditch, so that, and we can make sure that we're being proactive about those things. So again, Mr. President, thank you for allowing me to be live on your meeting to get that update. And also thank you again for all of your collective work. You're muted, Tom.
Any questions for Craig? I'm sorry. Craig, I think we're going to be having one right after we, on our first item of old business, Schoolhouse Lane and Baltimore Pike. So we're going to be asking for an application for them to consider signalizing that intersection. So once we get that on the way to PennDOT, I guess we'll keep your office in the loop, and we could appreciate your help in tracking that and getting us an answer one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sooner you make me smart in those conversations, the more help I can be to you. So
Okay, all right, well, thank you for joining us.
you bet. Thank you.
We also have Tony Shahan, the Executive Director of Newland Grits Mill. Is he available? Amanda, you're muted now.
Hold on, I said, just give me 1 second. I had to.
Okay, no problem.
So I think Tony's now promoted. And there he is.
I'm here.
Hey there.
All right, Tony, we moved you up in the batting order, so what
I
can we
see that.
do? Okay,
Thank you. I just wanted to give a brief update on the 40 Beaver Valley Lane project. Would like to start off by thanking this organization for all of its efforts in historic preservation. The idea that you found something unique and thought that it should be cared for has actually only played out as we've gone into this project. As we peeled down the layers, nothing about this building is the way it should be. It's all abnormalities, which means that it's a very special building. It's too big to be a simple cabin. It's too small ceilings to be a residence. We think it may have been a purpose-built building, possibly a workshop or a tavern even. And some of the research is showing that it may have been the precursor to Representative Williams' office as the tavern, the 9-ton tavern. So it's a really important building. And we have stripped it internally over the last month and a half to where we're just down to the last layers, and we hope to have it ready to fully disassemble by the end of June.
well, we're very happy to help you in this task. I want to thank Mr. Crossan for stumbling onto this track in this building. And I'm glad that the historical significance to the Newland Grits Mill and the Newland family can be preserved at the Newland site. So hopefully in partnering with you, we'll be able to get this thing over there, and can't wait to see it reopened. And I vote for having it to be a tavern, and we're going to do that again. So anyway.
And Tony, I'll underscore, I think that the public sentiment has been really, really strong. You know, when I look at posts that the township shares or the gristmill shares, or we share on local message boards, there has been such a tremendous interest in this building. The post that you shared with some of the pictures of the interior got really overwhelming responses from the community. So I think there's strong support in the community. I think they'd love to see some more pictures, to see the progress of this. It's always neat to see kind of a behind the scenes look and that before and after process. You know, keep up the good work and keep the pictures coming. I know everyone's looking forward to the outcome.
We actually hope to do more, but we're looking to get it down so it doesn't also become a major attractor.
Yeah,
that want a first-hand look.
Yeah,
so,
I know. Some people are like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
that-
stop by," and I'm like, "Please don't stop by."
The next thing you know, they fall in the basement or something, and we're stuck. Anyway,
Right.
okay.
But, yeah. Anything you can do to help kind of spread the word out there is great because people love seeing it.
Well, we've done some video, and we're actually hoping that it'll be a start of a major project to document this and make it into something that will be able to be promoted down the road.
Netflix worthy?
Possibly, you never know.
Good. All right. Well, thanks, Tony, and keep up the
Thank
good
you.
work. And we're happy. Some of us serve on that watershed task force with your organization, and that's proving to be another worthwhile project, partnering with the Grits Mill. And we look forward to continuing our relationship with the Grits Mill, which has probably been here longer than Concord, or as long as Concord. So anyway, thank you. All right, moving right along in the agenda, Mr. Donahue, I think we had some public comment.
Yes, I believe Mr. Cleary has written a question or made an inquiry about the property located at Adrian. And the exact question is, why is the property at 228 Adrian not listed as a taxable property per latest Delco assessment? I believe this issue was addressed many years ago. My understanding is that there is a post office box or mailbox located on one road and not on the other. However, I would request that council allow us to the next meeting to research this properly so I can give you a definitive answer.
I have no objection. Does anyone else? Okay, you will report back at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Under old business, first item is a Schoolhouse Lane and Baltimore Pike update. Nate, you want to give us a little update on that? I think the plan was to ask for a signalized intersection. I'll hand it over to you.
Sure thing. So first, let me share my screen here, if you can see that. So before I get to that part, in good news, we did talk to PennDOT last week, and they will be out as early as today, but they are scheduled sometime this week to install the signage and striping you see on this plan. I certainly will not pretend that everybody can interpret and understand this plan, but what this plan is telling you is that there's a dozen or so signs, hundreds of feet of linear feet of striping being installed here, advanced warning signage at this intersection, Baltimore Pike going left to right on your screen, Schoolhouse coming down from the top of your screen. So all of this will be installed sometime this week. In addition to tree trimming, they're going to clear a lot of the vegetation from the intersection, which will help with sight distance. So the sight distance will be cleared up, signage will be installed. The striping, we do not have a schedule for that. That is a separate group. As Representative Williams said, PennDOT, all different types of organizations. So the striping will follow at a later date. So that's good news. The interim stuff is happening. Second, we have met with PennDOT. We have clarified the next path forward for a possible signal at this intersection. So we have two things on the agenda tonight. Both of them will only require a motion from council. The one in front of you right now for this agenda item is a motion to have Amanda sign what is called a TE 160. TE 160 is PennDOT's authorization for the township to own and maintain a signal. So we have to recognize that we will own and maintain this signal before we can make this application. Later in the meeting, we will also be asking for a motion, and that will be for an update to their maintenance agreement. Pretty standard agreement. Mr. Dunn, you and I both looked at it. We have no issues. It's frankly everything we are currently doing for our traffic signals. That'll be a separate thing we have later in the agenda, and that'll apply to all signals in the township. And the nice part about it is going forward, for any signal related work, historically, we'd always need a resolution. We had to put it on the agenda. Going forward, the township manager will be authorized by this agreement to execute that just via a motion. So it'll make the process a little bit more streamlined. So
Okay.
I just need a motion to authorize Amanda to sign and submit the TE 160.
Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay. Nate, just to clarify, this is one of the items on the list of possible improvements to this dangerous intersection. I think we've had this on the agenda as an old business item probably since Christmas. I think that's when the accident, the fatality happened there. And I guess depending on what PennDOT's reaction is, whether we get permission to do this, naturally we'll put the light in, but if not, there's other plan B, so to speak, as far as improving the safety of this intersection, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Exactly right. So yeah, the way we did this is we're going to handle these small improvements that PennDOT's going to take care of out of their office initially. We already did our study of existing traffic patterns. That's been complete. So no matter what happens here, we have that data. We are then going to apply for the traffic signal. If they say yes, well, then we're going down one path. If they say no, there'll probably be another discussion. But ultimately, if no is the ultimate answer, then we have a host of other improvements that we've looked at and we've talked about at previous meetings.
Okay.
We'll then have a second discussion with you guys. And I will also copy Representative Williams' office on our application, so he's aware of these issues here.
Nate, can you
Okay.
give us an idea of the time frame of what occurs after this motion hopefully is approved by council?
Yeah, we have everything ready to go, Colleen. So we'll get that in, probably over the next week or two. I can't commit to how long PennDOT will take. It's a little bit non-standard. Our request is, we're trying to explain the situation and the facts as we see that. So, I think it'll be probably a little bit more of an extended conversation with PennDOT. So I think it's probably something that's going to take a few months to get some clarity from PennDOT.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Next, under new business, first is the demolition application for 1126 Smith Bridge Road. I think, Mr. Crossan, would you handle that one, please? John? Hello?
He's still muted. John, you're
Still muted. John, you're muted.
I'm buying everyone shirts that say you're muted.
No.
I figured out how to learn.
There we
Zoom.
go. There we go.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
John, you're up.
So this property is located, this is the little house that's right in the middle of 202 by, between Megan's restaurant and the pool supply store. And it is part of a larger property. There was a couple of historic properties that were on there. One was recently demolished last year. The owners are Gardner Lewis, who have their office building behind this. They applied for this demolition permit. They met with the historical commission, and the historical commission did in fact recommend approving the demolition of this building. It's not something that they take lightly, but they understand that it is in a very difficult position location-wise with its proximity to the road, and in terms of future development or redevelopment or reuse opportunities, just given the building, its structure, size, location, et cetera, it's really pretty limited. So it's not something that they take lightly, but they wanted to, so they recommended approval with the recommendations that the owners work with the historical commission to provide surveys, photographs, any documents regarding the property, access as needed to facilitate such documentation, as well as contribute any relevant historical artifacts or materials from the site that the historical commission wishes to have. The historical commission also would like for us to acknowledge the historical village of Elam is part of any future redevelopment. I don't think that that's something we need to move tonight, as this is just the demolition approval. But I did speak with the owners, the property manager representing the owner, and indicated to him that it is our intention and desire to have some historical reference for what we do there.
Okay.
So with
John,
that,
John,
I
most of that's outlined in the historical commission memo dated April 26, 2021. Is that correct?
correct. So I move
Good.
that we approve that the request for demolition per the recommendations in the historical commission memo.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Next is appointment of the right to know officer, Lisa Waldron. Do we have a motion to appoint Lisa as the right to know officer?
Moved.
Do we have a
So
motion to, so moved? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, next is resolution number 34 of 2021, which is establishing the special purpose facilities area. This is where, Dana, if you want to handle this one, this is, we've finally finished the sewers in Penn's Grant 1 and 2. And I didn't know if you had anything you want to add to this.
Sure. Do you want me to read the resolution?
If you just read the first part, and I think where it says further resolved, and that would be it on the page 2. They're the biggest parts.
Okay.
The
So
preamble and, okay, go ahead.
further resolved that the township hereby creates, establishes, and certifies the Penn's Grant 1 and 2 sewer project as a special purpose facilities area to be known and designated as the Penn's Grant 1 and 2 sewer project facilities area, Further resolved that the Penns Grant 1 and 2 sewer project facilities area shall include only those approximately 149 existing and potential residential properties and lots suitable within the municipal boundaries of Concord Township, commonly known and located along all or a portion of Concord Meeting Road, St. John's Drive, Edward Jennings Drive, Jeremiah Colette Road, Settler Road, John Hannon Circle, Wooders Road, Darlington Road, and a portion of Concord Road and Conchester Road, Patriot Lane, previously non-sewered, benefited and accommodated by the Penns Grant 1 and 2 sewer project, as identified and depicted on Exhibit A, attached here to and made to. And further resolved, the township will waive payment of the equivalent dwelling unit, EDU, for lots in the service area with existing residential dwellings. The township will require payment of the EDUs for vacant residential buildings, lots, and subsequent connection required due to an approved land development subdivision and or commercial or industrial purposes. Further resolved that township has or shall calculate the special purpose part of the tapping fee due to the payable to the township for each of those properties located with and defined as part of the Penns Grant 1 and 2 sewer project facilities area, and the capacity part for the commercial and or industrial properties of the same in writing and in accordance with the township's resolutions, rules, regulations, and policy governing assessment, payment, and collection of the same. And I'll make that
Okay.
as a motion.
All right, that's a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Okay.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right, resolution number 35 was just referenced in the previous one about setting the special purpose part of the tapping fee. If you want to, then I'll take that. It says, now therefore be it resolved that each of the properties located within the Penns Grant 1 and 2 sewer project facility areas assessed and shall pay the special purpose part of the township tapping fee in the amount of $7,800 in accordance with resolution 3421, which we just passed. So do we have a motion to approve resolution number 35 of 2021?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Questions or discussion?
So
All
this is
those in
less than
favor-
the 9,000 that I think was sort of.
I was
anticipated.
John. That's what I was going to say after we passed it. It's at least $1,500 less. And I got to thank my colleagues that work on this committee with me, Dana and John Gillespie, and also our engineers and everyone else, in that when they estimate these projects, they try to figure the worst case scenarios, which normally makes it a higher number. And fortunately, for whatever, we must have been living right this year or something, because this one came in at a very nice number of $7,800. So kudos to everybody that was involved in the project, from the design and the construction, and the staff for getting this out here. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Resolution number 36, 164 Governor Markham Final Minor Subdivision. Nate, you're going to give us a little background on that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Amanda, maybe if you can let me share my screen again, I can pull that plan up if that's easiest. Thank you. So we have a 2-lot subdivision. Give me a minute, it's popping up there. All right, there you go. Everybody should have that now. The address is 164 Governor Markham Drive. It's an existing 2.5 acre lot. The existing lot is here in the front, the existing residence with the pool. This proposal is to create an additional building lot at the rear. So essentially become a flag lot. The driveway will be north of the existing residence. It'll come back into the back where the new structure is. There'll be a stormwater management facility to the rear, and the septic facility will be up here in the slopes up here on the top of the lot. This project was reviewed by the county planning department, the township's planning commission, myself, the township sewage enforcement officer, as well as the fire marshal. The planning commission at their meeting in May recommended approval of this submission with some comments. We've taken those comments and prepared a draft recommendation for council tonight that's inclusive of the planning commission's comments. But as usual, they are typical to our reviews of myself and my peers here at the township, in addition to some standard stuff regarding landscaping and a couple minor issues as well. Fairly straightforward 2-lot subdivision. As everybody knows, in this neighborhood of Governor Markham, a lot of kind of 2 to 4 acre lots that have been 2-3 lot subdivisions over the years. We're probably nearing the not too many left at this point. A lot of them have already occurred over the years, so there's not too many left in this neighborhood. But we're getting down to the end of these kind of lots. So that is the plan here, guys. Is there any questions? I think everybody's seen this plan probably at least once before, but I can certainly answer any questions. And I believe the applicant, Monty Miller's on the call tonight too, just in case if there's any questions for him either.
Okay. Yeah, I think, Nate, you summed it up. In fact, I think there is one more subdivision that we might see by the end of the year along Governor Markham. And I think you had shown me the original subdivision plan of Governor Markham from the 60s, perhaps?
I did. I apologize. I can probably, maybe while you're.
No, but maybe when we get that next one, and it's very interesting as far as the history of Concord Township, that was formed when Concord Township's zoning ordinance were 3 and 5 acre lots. And all of these lots were carved into 3 acre parcels, 3 acre plus parcels. And what happened, the township was taken to court back in the 70s. It was called the Kitmar case, and the developers broke the ordinance that you could have 1 acre lots, which led to the construction of Cambridge Downs, Clayton Park Drive, as well as the Penn's Grant developments and many of the other developments. And it's interesting to see over the course of the years how this street went from, I forget how many 3 acre lots. Is that it there, Nate?
There you go.
Yeah, and how it went from that. It looks like a fish hook, really, when you look at it. But you can see how they've been carved up over the years once the ordinance was determined that 1 acre lots were sufficient. So I think you're right. I think we're getting to the last, the next plan coming in might be the last one. So we'll take a stab at a resolution here, Resolution 36 of 2021, which is for the Monty Miller subdivision at 164 Governor Markham Drive. Nate went into the lot areas and an overview of what they're trying to do here. And it would be approved subject to the following conditions: compliance with all elements contained in the Pannoni review letter dated May 3rd, 2021, compliance with all comments in the Delaware County Planning Department letter dated November 20th, 2020, compliance with all comments contained in the Concord Township Sewage Enforcement Officer letter dated October 20th of 2020, compliance with all comments in the Fire Marshal's email dated May 7th, 2021. The contribution to the Municipal Storm Water Control and BMP Operation and Maintenance Fund is required in the amount of $1,500. The deed for Lot 2 shall indicate that further subdivision is prohibitive. Specific landscape locations to be determined in the field with the township engineer to fill any gaps in existing vegetation as much as feasible per the quantity indicated on the plan. Removal of the requested waiver as directed by the township engineer. Signed, sealed surveyor certification and placement of monuments and pins be filed with the township prior to recording the signed plan. Plans are to be submitted in electronic format acceptable to the township consulting engineer. And lastly, all deeds for the properties, legal descriptions, easements, stormwater maintenance agreements are to be submitted for review and approval by the township engineer and township solicitor prior to the release of the signed plans. All the exhibits, all the letters that were mentioned are going to be attached to this as exhibits. So do we have a motion to approve resolution number 36 of 2021?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Normally, we would ask the applicant if the conditions are acceptable to him. I don't know if we're able to do that with the technology, but I'll assume that he was given these in advance, so we'll just move right on in the agenda. Next is resolution number 37 of 2021. Nate, that's that traffic signal maintenance agreement you talked about earlier?
Correct.
I will need a motion to approve that.
Moved.
We had a second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, next, John Crossan, you're going to handle this, it looks like another grant application or a grant project.
Yeah, Nate, you want to speak to this?
Yeah, Amanda just stole back my screen share, but I can share the plan real quick of this as well. She's very greedy, wants to
As soon
show
as
this.
I share, you need it back.
I need it back.
That's because she was playing solitaire. No, I know.
All right, 1 second. Let me get click the right button here. Real quick, guys, this is something that's been on the radar for a while, but we did receive a grant from PennDOT. It's confusingly named an ARLE grant, ARLE. What that stands for is automatic red light enforcement, which has nothing to do with anything in Concord Township. But when you get a red light ticket on Roosevelt Boulevard in Philadelphia, a portion of those tickets go to the rest of the state to implement safety and traffic improvement projects. So that's where the funding comes from and the weird name of it. And what this project is, Baltimore Pike is going left or right across your screen. State Farm Drive here at the north. Chick-fil-A would be kind of at the top right. Applied Bank Boulevard going south. Toyota would be here on the right. All this plan is going to do here is we're going to construct sidewalk. The sidewalk currently ends at the Crossroads Center that Marty Rudman owns, and it's kind of a sidewalk to nowhere. Again, we have a lot of those in the township, but the point is we try to get them installed where we can so that we can continue to connect the dots, not to steal a term for later in the meeting, but connect the dots where we can. So we will construct a sidewalk down to the intersection, an ADA ramp, crosswalk, ADA ramp, and then connect to the sidewalk that Toyota installed as part of their land development project in the bus shelter. So that'll really connect the south side of Baltimore Pike from Crossroads Center all the way up to the Wawa and beyond. And I really have to take a closer look to see the entire length of connectivity, to be honest with you. So we tried a couple different ways of trying to make this project happen, but ultimately it came down to the numbers are enough that we have to go out to bid. This will authorize that bid document. We will put that out this month. It'll be on the July agenda for approval and authorization. And we'll get this work done hopefully sometime this summer and just keep chipping away here, guys. And then, so tonight I just need an authorization to move forward with advertising this project, and there'll be more to come in July. In addition, in July, I will probably be coming to the table with suggestions for the next round of ARLE grant applications. Without going into too much detail tonight, again, any of these types of projects, traffic signal related, pedestrian improvements are all good projects. So feel free to reach out to me with any ideas. No ideas are bad ideas. We'll work through them and see if there's anything we can do. We have a few things in the back of our mind, but I'll hopefully have that discussion for you at the July meeting. I gotta look at the calendar when they're due, but most likely at the July meeting, I'll have some ideas for you on that as well.
I just want to add in for council that this was a good grant, over $100,000 towards this project.
Great.
And Nate, this is just that top connection piece. There's nothing that goes down Applied Card Bank Boulevard.
That's a great question, John, because
Yes.
a condition of approval of the Home 2 hotel site further south was for them to connect the sidewalk from the hotel to here. I'm still working with them on that. We have that financial security for that. I was hopeful they'd be doing that soon. I think the cost hit them a little bit. So we're going back and forth a little bit, but that project has not been closed out pending the complete completion of that sidewalk. And that will connect to this as well. So now we'll be able to essentially get all the way down to Wegmans and 202.
Well, Nate, following up on that though, what do we have to do to sort of put a fire under Applied Card as part of the hotel project? Because it seems like, it seems to me they got the price, they think it's more than they wanted to spend, and then we hear crickets on the other side. But I think it's great we're getting this done, but I think we ought to keep the momentum on by the end of the summer to maybe have them at least get their project done too.
Yeah, let's do two things, Dom. I'll kind of just push the agenda from my end, just kind of make sure they're not waiting on anything from our side of things. But maybe you and I can talk offline too, and maybe a phone call here or there could help nudge the people the right direction.
Okay, sounds good.
John,
and
you
would
would
that
like to-
also be the hotel connection down?
Sorry,
Would
yeah,
that
John,
also
you
be
see.
the hotel connection down to where like Orange Theory is? Because I know that the sidewalk on the south end of the hotel doesn't really kind of connect into anything.
I think the hotel should connect to Wegmans at the other side, John, or is it not connected there? I could be wrong.
No, I think when that driveway that goes into the hotel closest to 202, I think from that access point to the Orange Theory, the next shopping center down, There is no sidewalk, if I'm
Yeah, I
not
think there might-
mistaken.
Right, I think there might be one gap there between, right, exactly, maybe a 100, 200-foot gap. So look, that's a good mini little project that, we'd have to work with, who is that? Peter Miller and Carlino maybe, to figure out what we can do. And I think that's a good little project,
Yeah.
guys, because look, we're so close to getting that connection,
Well, I think, I agree with John that we ought to be working on that too, but here we have somebody that, as part of their approvals, a requirement was to install the first leg of that sidewalk up to the hotel. So we ought to be keeping the pressure on that. But yeah, I think that's the stretch right there. I think it stops.
Yep.
Okay. And I think you're going to find one of the reasons it stops there, it literally hits a wall. I think
I
that
think the grade is challenging there.
yeah, the grade is really challenging there.
Yep. All right, I move that we authorize this to go to bid.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And next, we'll do the next three. There's three applications for payments. First is to, what do we got here? This is for Dolly Construction. For $255,915.75. And this is on account of the project at Smithbridge Estates Low Pressure Sewer Project. The second is also to Dolly Construction in $80,719.56. And this is for the Penns Grant 1 and 2 sewer extension project. And the last is to JEV Construction for $39,334.75 for the sewer chemical building construction. Do we have a motion to make those expenditures?
I'll motion to make those three expenditures.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Next, we have a financial security release. Colleen, I think Team Toyota wants some money back, right?
Yes, this is the final sewer release for Team Toyota in the amount of $29,625.50. And I'll make that as a motion for approval.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 John, I guess we have another subdivision on Beaver Valley Road. Would you want to handle that one, please?
Correct. So we're just tonight accepting the application for a minor subdivision by the owners, Mr. and Ms. Meany at 503 Beaver Valley Road. Nate, I don't know if you have that. I don't even know that we need to look at it, but we'll accept this plan for review. So,
Okay, do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
so moved.
Second it.
All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Under other commission matters, public engagement update. Dana, do you have any, what's the latest and greatest?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So on May 11th, we had our first Voice Your Vision kickoff meeting, which was a virtual meeting that we had collaborative discussions with some of our residents. And don't worry if you weren't able to attend, the recording of the meeting is on our township website. And with that, the survey that we had submitted that was filled out online, we came up with 3 topics of interest that the council and residents were highly interested in. And because of those 3 topics, we are going to have more collaborative sessions to hone in with all of our residents on those topics. And they can be attended by any of the residents, even if you didn't attend the first kickoff meeting. They're going to be scheduled for the next following Tuesdays, June 22nd, July 13th, and July 27th. We don't have the specific details of each of the meetings, but we will be providing that on our township website and on social media. So please stay tuned for further updates. Thank you.
Okay, great. COVID updates. We have the temporary outdoor dining is going to expire August 1st. I think perhaps we should be considering sometime later this month sending letters to each of those that have one of those permits, reinforcing that date, just as an FYI to them. so that they know that is a hard date. And we will be resuming public in-person meetings at the first meeting in August, correct, Amanda?
That is correct.
That's, God forbid something else happens, but if everything goes the way it is, that's it. Benita, I
Mr. President, I
understand
have a
you.
question.
Yeah,
Why can't we shorten that now? Why do we have to wait till August? I think everything's pretty good now.
well, we have some vacation schedules, I think, in the next few months, and we just thought August would be the time when everybody could be in public at the meeting.
Tom, did you mean the meetings or did you mean the
No,
outdoor
lift
dining?
this outdoor dining and have it now. You're saying it's,
Well,
Sure.
we told everybody it was going to be August 1st, then I don't think we should be going back on that.
Just from a business planning perspective, Tom, what I think business owners we had been extending it month to month, and I think that was difficult for business owners who had rented tents and just everything else that they were doing. They wanted a little bit more headway, and so we proposed pushing it to August 1st, which allowed for them to have some planning in place. But I think what Dominic's underscoring is that we have no intention at this point of extending that any further, even though it's been extended for over a year now.
okay.
And so
That-
we just want to give
that-
everyone a heads up that
Okay.
their outdoor dining permits will expire August 1st, and that all must come down.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah,
fine. I'm
And
just saying,
Tom, I think if you go to any of the restaurants, and I think it's just everywhere was cooped up for a year, the inside and the outsides are crowded. So I think if this gives them a couple extra months to maybe have some outdoor dining to compensate them for some of the losses over this past year, which was really tough for the restaurant industry, so be it. But as John Crossan said, we just got to keep letting them know that August 1st, that's it, it's done. There'll be no 30-day extensions. We don't want to hear any sob stories. We've been letting you know this now for at least 4 months in advance that we're cutting it off. So I think that's where that's coming from. Okay, Benita, I think you had the first diversity day and went very well, the events that evening. So I'd like you to maybe expand on that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm very pleased to report that we had a very successful Diversity Day celebration on Friday, May 21st. We were joined by many township residents at the Township Park on Smith Bridge Road. And the Asian American community organized a Tai Chi demonstration as well as a Bollywood hip hop workout demonstration, which went very well. The Tai Chi demonstration was organized and demonstrated and led by Mr. Ted, who is a Tai Chi instructor in the township. And he is very grateful for the opportunity that we gave him to introduce Tai Chi to our local residents. We also had a representation from the Indian American community, which organized a Bollywood dance hip hop workout, which was led by a Bollywood dance instructor and teacher, Miss Priyanka Das. It was quite an eclectic show and everyone enjoyed it. We also recognized Samir Rana, who came up with this idea and had proposed the idea for the Diversity Day for the township. So I also want to take this opportunity and thank you, Mr. Ted, as well as Ms. Priyanka for their services and efforts in pulling all of this together last minute. Thank you.
Great. I understand a great time was had by all, and
yes,
hope it'll be the first of many. Colleen, you had something you want to add this evening, too?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We've been following, as I'm sure we all have, the American Rescue Act, and there are some funds that should be distributed to the township and actually townships all over the county and country from that act sometime later this year, and again, a second time next year. And I thought it would be good to start some conversation on how we think it would be best used to utilize those funds throughout Concord Township. I think there's lots of different opportunities that the regulations, at least the initially drawn regulations as they stand now, which could change, would allow us to do within the township. And I think some really candid conversation and idea generation would be very beneficial around this topic.
I think if Amanda, if I'm not mistaken, earlier in the year, or maybe it was sometime last year, we used one of our workshop nights to basically brainstorm another issue that was coming before the township. So perhaps we should look at one of those last Tuesday of the month meeting nights in order to have this workshop or brainstorming session with the members of council. And we can probably compare our calendars later in the week and figure out what night it'll be and duly advertise it as such and go from there. I don't know if anyone else has any input on that or what their thoughts might be.
I just want to put out, if you choose a workshop night, they're already advertised. So
Okay.
if you do choose one of the evenings, you're okay. And we could always put
Okay.
extra information on the website and things.
Well, I think maybe what we ought to be doing is we'll check with council and everyone involved to check their schedules. And then we'll pick one of those nights and we'll have that meeting if everyone's in agreement.
Is there any time frame that we should be aware of in terms of when we would need to establish what we want to do? Like, can we have this meeting in August, or is that too late? I mean, I know the summer's a tough month, so maybe June or July would be better, but.
Yeah, Amanda, you might want to add into this because I know you're following it from the township level, but it doesn't appear that there's even a date where the funds may be distributed at this point.
Yeah, there was talk that it was so many months post when they got the funding, but I know that there was definitely lag on some of that. So we're still sort of in waiting in terms of like our ultimate what we will get. There's even been talks that there potentially could be more funds that might have to be requested from the state, depending on what your plan is. You do not have to have a plan once you receive the monies, but you have to follow the guidelines if you're planning to use it. If you do have a plan, there's actual extensions you can get through like 2026 if you have a full-blown plan in place. So I think Colleen's thinking of having that moment hashed out more in your minds is a great one, so that everyone can publicly know the game.
And this might be another area where Representative Williams, might be able to send some information and we can contact him about keeping us in the loop on what the state's plans are for distribution of those funds. He might have that information before we do.
Okay. All right. So more to follow, but we'll check our calendars and announce what night we're going to have that meeting. John Crossan, I think you have quite a venue set up for our park with concerts and movies. And
yeah, absolutely.
I know it's always hard to get you to come out of your shell and talk about this, but if you wouldn't mind taking the microphone.
I appreciate it. And Amanda can pull up either the postcard that we have or just the calendar of events there at the bottom of the agenda. But last year we started, we've always done a movie night. And last year we did a couple of concerts. Some of them got rained out. We weren't able to have as many as we wanted. But this year we're coming back strong. And almost every week we have an exciting event planned for the community in the township park and at the pavilion. Where last year we got the great new "Welcome to Concord Township" sign installed. The lights. I think it's really becoming a great gathering place for us. But we have a new Concord on the Move series that our Parks and Rec department has put together, which I believe there may have been a pickleball activity today. There's a scavenger hunt planned this week. We have Shrek next Saturday night, June 12th, starts at dusk. We have the Navy Band on June 18th in the park at 7 p.m. Another Concord on the Move interactive music event, which is a children's program on the 19th at 11 a.m. And then for all those Irish music lovers, we have Belfast Connection on June 24th at 7 p.m. So that's just the June lineup. We have a number of things planned for July and August. The township sent out a beautiful postcard to all residents, which they should be receiving this week. So I encourage everyone to put that on your fridge, mark your calendars, and come on out. We've got a lot of good things planned, and kudos to our Parks and Rec Department team for putting this on in conjunction with Darlington Arts Center. And as Nate mentioned earlier, we have trails opening up, all sorts of good things. We have, I know that we have planned to hire a full-time professional Parks and Recreation director this year, and Amanda's working on that. So only more good things to come.
Okay, great. All right, that also being said, yesterday, this weekend was Memorial Day weekend. And on behalf of council, I want to thank all those that have served in our military in the past and serving in the military in the present. We wouldn't be able to sit here and have any kind of meetings if it wasn't for their sacrifices for our country and our democracy. That being said, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye, and thank you
Aye.
for coming out this evening.
Good
Aye.
night,
Good
everyone.
night.